Hello, welcome to You Do You, Find Your Wow Masterclass Series. And I'm Melinda Broadstone, your host. And I am so excited to introduce you to a sister in energy work and healing. We're so glad to have you here, Jacki Beem.
Hi, nice to be
Hi,
here.
I am so glad to have you here. Um, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jacki. I know that she's amazing at clearing energy so that you can get the kind of life that you want. She's an intuitive coach and an energy healer. She can look into your field of energy and see all of the belief systems, the blueprints and blocks that are working against you. She uses her unique gifts to remove these blocks, shift your energy, and align you with love, abundance, great health, and a thriving career. Jacki has worked with some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, Grammy winning musicians, actors, coaches, salespeople, professional athletes, and authors by aligning their energy with their passion and goals to pull their new reality in quickly. Thank you so much for joining us. And could you just explain to us like where you started and your journey to actually doing this work as your primary career?
Yeah, so I used to be an attorney, and while I was in law school, I just found myself, growing up, I always kind of had a wonderful, magical way about life, right? And things were very um charmed, right? And then when I went to law school, I'm in the energies of fear and guilt and shame all the time. So I started noticing the magic started getting lost a little bit. And then when I went into work as an attorney, it started getting even more, just more fear, more shame, all of those things. And the magic kind of just felt like it stopped. And I was doing this work, not loving it, not liking it at all, actually. And I wasn't aligned with the work I was doing. And so because of that, I wasn't making money at it, really. I mean, what people would think that a lawyer would make, I wasn't making much. And I was gaining tons of weight. I was not having very much success in other areas of my life. And what I came to learn through working with my own energy healer is that it was all just because I was, the vibration I was holding. When you hold all these old energies of shame, fear, guilt, you start to block out, the source energy that wants to come through you. So I started healing some of my blocks and releasing some energies and releasing some of the old programming that kind of led me down that path to begin with, right? All the things that made me think that, that was what was going to give me value. I started clearing all that programming. And as I did that, first, I started actually enjoying my attorney job a little bit more, and then started making a little bit more money. But then, really, where as I just kept clearing blocks, I was presented with an opportunity to train with the woman I trained with. And I learned how to do energy work myself, and that just really catapulted me onto a totally different timeline. I started doing practice sessions with friends, and all of them were just like, you need to be doing this work. You have to do this work on other people. And so I kind of just started an energy healing practice business without ever intending to. And, just all of my clients have been word of mouth. All of this was unplanned, but so aligned. And because this work is so much more aligned with my natural gifts and talents and desires, it's had a ripple effect out through the rest of my life. Money is a lot better than it was when I was an attorney. My personal life is a lot better. My body is a lot healthier. Every single thing, works because I'm doing the work in the world that I'm aligned with. And so when I'm working with clients, I just kind of help them through the same process. I look into their field of energy. I can see, usually they'll come to me and they'll say, this is happening, why is this happening? Or they'll say, I want to get here, but it's not happening. What's going on? And so I'll look in their energy and I can see, all the old beliefs that they took on about what life would be like. I can see all the old unprocessed emotions from events from their life. I can see all of the neural pathways, just basically I look at their model of reality, their model of how they think the world is working, and we just start clearing that energy. And then, a lot of times people will have instant upgrades where something, because people are manifesting with their thoughts and intentions, and it's those blocks that are just kind of right here. So it's kind of keeping them from collecting the stuff that they're pulling in. And so as we just remove the blocks, they pull the things in. So a lot of times people will pull things in really fast, and also a lot of times the change that's needed is so drastic and requires so much reprogramming that it takes a while. But either way, kind of at the end of the day, the reality you see is a vibrational match for the energy you're holding right now. So if you see something in your reality that's not working for you, we just look in, we ask how you're vibrationally creating that experience, and we start clearing it. And so that's, I kind of tell people, like, I'm not like a, like a therapist, like I'm not just kind of looking to heal you. It's really just about making you a vibrational match to where you want to go.
Yes. And so in every part of our life, that vibrational match is so important, right? Because if whatever message we're giving, like if we know from a cognitive place, I have these skills, I have these tools, this is what I'm going to do. And so then I put my message out there, but there's something inside you constricting that keeps you out of that vibration.
Right.
It's like it just lands flat, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, people are often working with energies of unworthiness. They're working with energies where they're not able to be in their power, or they can't speak up, and that's all stuff that's been programmed in throughout the lifetime. So as we clear those, you can step into the energy you need to be in to do all the things you want to do.
Well, I love what we were talking about in the green room. You used the phrase reality creation is your focus of the work
Mhm.
that you do. Would you like to explain that? Because I think it distinguishes you from other people and from the outcomes. The outcome is oriented in a different way.
Right, right. Well, so I think a lot of people, they want to do energy healing to heal, to feel better, to, not be in pain, to not be in distress. And while that's certainly a part of what I'm doing, the clients that are my sweet spot to work with are people who are just, a lot of really high performers, a lot of people who they have a vision of where they're going,
Hmm.
and they're just like, why isn't it happening? And so part of that is all the other stuff. It's the clearing, it's the processing of really tough stuff. It's the clearing of beliefs. But where I'm kind of a different kind of coach is that I don't budge on that someone's creating their reality with their vibration. So when anyone wants to go into victim energy, a lot of the times, sometimes being seen will help someone, feel seen, and that will provide a little bit of healing, but it doesn't get you where you want to go. And so people come to me when they want the truth, when they want to just really take accountability for whatever is here so that they can choose something new. So reality creation is the focus, and healing is kind of the means to creating the new reality.
Yes, yes. When you're creating reality, if we don't go through the healing, it's really the long road, very
Right,
long road.
right. Well, and what I
Lots of
find is,
struggles.
a lot of people, what they want to do, they want to do the affirmations and they want to pull in the new reality, like thinking positive, and that is what to do. And then where they'll come up short is that they haven't pulled out the old reality, right? So, if I really want to pull in, let's say a bunch of abundance, right? You can do all the things to get in the vibration of being in that abundance, but then in order to make that your more default state, where you're not having to, go into meditation 12 hours a day and feeling the money piling on you, right? In order to make that your more default state, you've got to pull out all the old programming. You've got to pull out all the things you ever learned about money that are not favorable to the new reality that you want to create. And so, I mean, I've done tons and tons and tons of sessions and webinars and clearings, and I have audio programs and all that stuff, helping people just go, one by one through all those blocks, because we get programmed with a lot of things. So it's really just you chip away every time you clear blocks. You just chip away at all that stuff, and after some time, or even very quickly for a lot of people, the new reality can come in as more of the default state, because the old reality is no longer being bought and sold, by you to you.
So I have a question for you that if 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 you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But I was wondering about the karmic lessons involved, and when we're taking things out of someone
Mhm.
else, like is it only the ones that people have learned the lesson around, or that it's just totally not serving them as a part of their natural progression of things? Um,
Well,
how does that work? Like, do
the
some
way
things
that
get
I see
left
it,
in place?
yep, the way that I see it is that, anything that you have to learn is really something that's going to be a vibrational match for you, right? So if you have to experience something really tough, in order to learn a lesson. It's really you're experiencing something tough to help clear something, and you can get the lesson. What I always do with my clients is we just speed up the timeline, right? So if someone's got something really tough that they need to go through in order to get to the other side, what we'll do in an energy healing session is we will face it now. We'll say, okay, this is kind of coming. Let's go ahead and face the pain of this so that we can clear all the energy inside of you that is pulling that in for you to learn a lesson. And let's preemptively learn the lesson energetically, mind, body, all of it. Let's learn that right now energetically so that you don't have to pull in circumstances that make you learn the lesson the hard way. And so,
Brilliant.
yeah. And so that's
I
what
love
I mean.
that.
That's like the clients that I'm working with now. I now work with a handful of private clients, and I have two coaches that work for me who work with more people. But the people I work with now are people who I've worked with for so long, and they're at the point where they understand that. And so when they can kind of feel an inkling, like, I know this isn't going to happen, or I just kind of feel like this is going to happen, it's like, all right, let's go ahead and learn that now. Let's pull it in as if it's happening now, face it, clear everything that's in you that's eventually pulling that in, to learn a lesson, or even to face a karma. Usually when something's going to be like karmic, meaning like if at some point you put something out and then it's on its way back in, what we'll do is we'll find that old thing you did, and we'll clear your thoughts about it, your guilt, your kind of anticipation of this bad stuff coming, and that releases it kind of allows the karma to transmute, allows the karmic circle to finish its loop and transmute.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely answer.
I've been doing
I
this
didn't
a
want to
long
put you on
time.
the spot. I've never heard anybody talk about it before, so I thought, oh, I don't want to put her on the spot.
That's all right. I've been doing it a long time. So that's just how I see it. I'm sure a lot of people can watch this and they see things differently, and that's beautiful too.
Yeah. Yes, everybody has their own way of looking at things,
Right.
whether it's energy or not.
Hmm.
um, well, all of this whole series of conversations with people is about people helping people to get in touch with the deeper part of themselves that really, it's kind of like when you strip down, take away all the masks and the shading and all of that stuff. There's like everybody has, like, in my opinion, has this amazing, amazing, unique aspect to themselves that when they get in touch with that life becomes more magical. So, can you talk about how your work relates to that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we come here, we come to this planet, and we're just these little beings, right? These little light beings coming straight from source, God, universe, whatever whatever you like to call that source that we all come from. We come here as little extensions, and then life happens, right? We learn from parents, from siblings, from peers, from authority figures, you know, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, right? Or you're not going to be able to do this. And so we dim, we dim, we dim. And as we dim, or as we take on those beliefs about ourselves, that all starts to keep us safe in that childhood environment, right? So we take on those beliefs so that we don't overstep anything, and so that we are safe and can survive and be loved and be cared for in that environment. And so that's why a lot of people, we grow up not ever clearing that stuff. So a lot of people won't see that light. They won't see that sparkle,
Mhm.
and they won't feel that alignment with what they're doing because they've shut it down a long time ago. And so, by clearing the energy blocks, clearing the old programming, you really just get back to you. You just get back to your soul's natural song, its frequency. And thereby you draw in everything that resonates with that natural soul song. So everything around you then starts to be in harmony with the energy you're holding, and that's when your sparkle, your essence, your you can really be magnified and safe, because you're owning it. Basically, you're in your power, your value, so you can just be that version of you without having to worry about surviving in a less functional environment.
Yes, and so what I hear you saying is that we remove all of the layers of whatever this is out here
Uh-huh.
between us and the next thing, and it just that path opens up and it just keeps moving towards us without any restriction, and
Right.
so it just shows up faster and more of them show up and we attract them.
Right, right. And for some people, they talk about like, oh, you got to bang down doors, you got to do all these things to make life work. And what I found is that as you clear the energy, a lot of things just kind of show up in your path. You still have to do a lot of the work to walk through those doors, to be
Sure.
seen, to do all that stuff. But what I find is that all the answers, because you're vibrating in resonance with the opportunities, with the right clients, with the right work to do, it all just kind of, the doors show up in front of you. You still have to walk through them. You still have to, do the effort, but it just becomes a lot more smooth.
More fluid,
Yep.
more open. I can
Yep.
remember I can remember when I was 12 years of age having like this existential crisis and saying, well, I guess the only thing left for me to do is just to become the best me that I could be.
Hmm.
And I had no idea what that implied.
Uh-huh.
But what happened was like I really aligned with that. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like a real like bzz, like really locked in. And I didn't think about it all the time, but it was as if the universe took it as a call to action. And everything started, I just started having all of these opportunities that I never would have imagined myself.
Right.
I never would have thought to ask for. I never would have known how to search out.
Right. Well, that's why I tell people, like in my High Watt Live, my live event that I do, the first thing we talk about is, you're not really in touch with what you actually want. And it's when you just become you, it becomes more clear what you want. Like I told people, I'm like, I would have never known to tell the universe or to even set it as a goal that I want to be an energy healer, because I didn't know what an energy healer was until I was 29
Exactly.
years old, So how would I know to ask for that? Like it was just clearing the blocks that allowed it to become possible for me, and the same is true in every area of your life. Like there are love relationships available to people that they don't even know exist. Like I've had so many clients who, when, we do a lot of work on love blocks, and when they clear a lot of stuff, they can get really in touch with who they really are. And then a partner shows up and they're just like, I had no idea that someone like this was even available. And it's because now they can resonate with you when you're being you and you're being unencumbered by all the programming. It's if you have some programming that you're not worthy, then you're going to pull in someone who validates that, right? You're going to pull in someone who
Yeah.
takes advantage of that. So you clear that unworthiness, and then, oh my gosh, somebody is like really in love with me. Somebody's treating me amazingly. Like a lot of people don't know that those things are available. They don't know that deep compatibility is available. They don't know that making money doing what you love is available. They think it's kind of a pipe dream. I mean, I used to. I was taught to believe. I mean, in the lawyer world. The belief is you just have to work more hours, and that's just how I thought
That's the
money
way it
worked.
is in so
Yeah,
many jobs.
and that didn't really work for the real me. She doesn't like that, you
And
know.
actually, it's kind of a feeling or thought in the world of entrepreneurship too. You have to
Yeah,
work harder, longer
yeah.
to get,
And
to become successful.
for some people that's aligned, right? Like sometimes I'll have a launch or a project that I'm working on, and I almost never feel like I'm working, because I love doing it. And so creating and putting something together and writing content, sometimes I'll do that, not even realize that I'm working a lot of hours. But for the most part, I don't ever do something that I don't want to be doing. A
Hmm.
few exceptions, of course. Like in my early days, I did live events and I thought I was going to throw up before all of them because I hated public speaking. But I kind of teach my clients to discern between, okay, am I feeling stopped because this is out of alignment with me, or am I feeling stopped because I've got programming that I need to clear? And so when you clear the programming, it's like, interesting, because I'll get on stage and then I'll love it. I'm just like, what was I worried about? Right. So we sometimes think that our limitations are the real us. They'll be like, well, the real me is this person who's this and loud and da da da
Yep.
da. Da. And sometimes it's not really that that's the real you. That's your programming, or that's your junk that you're trying to not feel or whatever. And so I work with a lot of people on that. They have a lot of identity in some of their junk. Well, I'm just a really high maintenance person. Well, maybe, but let's see what's making you do show up that way, clear that, and let's see if that's who you really are. And if it is, then you'll find someone who resonates with you and they'll love it. And then if it's not, we'll clear it so that you can pull in someone who aligns with you.
So actually speaking in public is a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and people that are in the entrepreneurial world, we all have to speak on some platform, whether it's live or on Zoom or whatever. So would you say you've been able to totally clear and be okay with speaking publicly?
I have found that public speaking is the clearing gift that keeps on giving for me. If I'm being fully honest, because every time I've ever so a little backstory, when I was in law school, I was probably perceived as just not being prepared, but I would over prepare and then I would get into the law school classroom and freeze if I got called on. And so
Oh
I
my
couldn't
gosh, that sounds like
dialogue.
me.
Yeah, I couldn't dialogue with the professor and I looked like a moron and people probably thought either I was unprepared or that I was just stupid, right? But and it was neither. I mean, I hope, but like, I just was scared. I would get paralyzed and I couldn't think. They would ask me questions.
Yeah.
And one time the professor even dumbed it down just because he knew I was nervous and I still couldn't answer those questions. Right. And so when I got into the world of energy healing, so when you do work that's aligned with you, what you'll find happens is that every block you've got, you're going to have to face. Entrepreneurship is one of the greatest spiritual journeys you take, as well as romantic relationships and all relationships, really. But when you are an entrepreneur, you are like there's things you are going to have to do in order to get successful. And I'm not I don't say that in a way like do this, do this, do this, do this, but you're going to find,
Right.
okay, my intuition is telling me I need to get on stage, but everything inside of me can't do that. So you have to push through so many edges in the world of entrepreneurship. And that's why
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, that's with this work, all of my clients are people who are entrepreneurs because they are constantly pushing edges. And what I
Yeah.
found is as I push through them, then it's just as it's time to go to the next level, then there's a whole new set of beliefs and fears and all that come up for you to clear. So I've done a lot of work. And so now, you know, I'm definitely a lot farther along than I used to be. And then now I've kind of been entering into the world of just kind of being seen more visually online. I used to do audio webinars for like the last 8 years, and now I'm doing them visually. And so, you're facing all the blocks that come up when you have to sit and look at yourself in the screen. It's just like, oh gosh, you have to push through and you learn what you're afraid of. You learn, what you're afraid that they're thinking. You learn that you're afraid of doing something wrong. You get to clear all of that. And so it's hard and it's also wonderful because you just push into it and you consciously clear the energy out and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was reading one of my favorite quotes by Swami Rama is that the conscious mind is ruled by the unconscious mind. And so
Right.
no wonder life is so hard and progress is so slow.
Right.
So when you think about like 95% of what comes in goes to the subconscious and the unconscious, and the billions of bits of information that come in that can get lodged in some way to not serve you, you can make huge gains from the work that you do. And, because I'm a fellow healer, I get it. We can make huge gains. And it just doesn't stop, right? I mean, there's always something more.
Yeah. I mean,
There's always something more to push our edge.
Yeah, what I always tell people, a lot of times new clients who've never done energy healing before, they'll say, "Well, how many sessions is it going to take for me to find my future partner?" Right? And sometimes I'll see for people how far they will actually want to go. Right? Let's, instead of using partnership as an example, let's use it entrepreneurship. So sometimes some people just want to clear a couple blocks and then they want to live that life. What I find for the type of people that resonate with my work is that they want to go as far as their soul wants to go. So the reason they're always clearing and they're always digging for what's going on subconsciously is because they're always growing, and not like in a greedy, I'm never satisfied way, but more of a just, I've got this lifetime. How far are we going? And so
Band.
And so as far as pulling out the subconscious beliefs, some people are satisfied with just doing a little bit of work so that they can get out of the pain or get out of the scarcity or get into a relationship. And then what I'll find is that they'll kind of drop it, but they're satisfied with where the new default setting is. And there's a lot of us who are just kind of always wired for growth and always just want to maximize who we can be in this lifetime. And so we just keep pushing. And I'll find for myself, I go through kind of periods of just fast growth and then a little bit of integration. But I'm always kind of noticing, because I'm always doing this work, I'm always noticing the subconscious. Like if something feels off to me, I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? Why is that so upsetting to me? Someone will do something and I'll just be more upset than the situation calls for me to be, but I'll be like, okay, what is that? What's going on? And so, because your system and your unconscious mind interprets these external stimulus as a threat because of something that's lodged in there.
Yes.
So I'm pretty much always doing the thinking and the work, the big, huge emotional purges and all that stuff. I'll do that in periods and then kind of integrate for a little while, let it become my new default setting. Or like if I hit a really big income goal, like I said, I used to do live events. So I would make a whole bunch of money on one day. And then what I would do is I would just let that sit in the bank for a couple months and just let my energy get used to, okay, that's my new default setting. This is my new normal. This is how much money I
Oh,
always
I love that.
make. Yeah, because I see so many people, they'll have these big windfalls and then boom, gone, because their energy is not integrated to the new amount. So that's just,
How does that, that brings up an interesting idea. So I'm getting ready to sell my house.
uh-huh.
If I sell it for the price that I want, which is like the most amount of money that I ever got for anything.
Uh-huh. Right.
Is there benefit to like really sitting with that in the bank before I do something with it?
I think I always just kind of tell people use their intuition. That's my policy, only because actually, I guess it would just depend, if you had an intention to buy another house, really just like whatever felt aligned for you. For me, it's like I always like to let the money integrate so that I can let my energy get used to, okay, this is my new normal. This is my minimum standard. Because then after a couple of months, sometimes another expense will come up, but I'll easily get something that brings me back to normal or my new normal.
Yeah.
Whereas if, a big amount comes in, if it goes right back out, then it really just depends on your energy. Truly. It depends on what other stuff you're working with. If you've got a bunch of money energy around shame, if you got a bunch of guilt energy around money, if you got anger around money, if you have beliefs that I can't hold on to money, if you have beliefs, that it always goes out as soon as it comes in. If you're working with any of those, you're always going to create that. But I would always tell people, like I've had some people who, to work with me is a large investment. And so I've had some people say, okay, I've got this amount coming in, and when that comes in, I want to work with you. And so, it's just the energy behind what you do, not necessarily what you do. So for me, in integrating at the new level, it's my energy that kind of lets the my minimum standard now settle in. It's not what I'm doing, it's the energy I'm holding as I do that. So, like you said, if you sell your house for the most amount of money you'll ever make, whatever you do after that, it's not what you do, it's the energy you're holding behind it.
Yes, and that's what I was trying to capture. So I was like, there's something here that I need to really work with. And part of it feels like, if you've never experienced something before, you just don't realize you can't. It was like that thing we were talking about where things were attracted to us, and we never, like, you never thought you were going to be a healer,
Right.
like that was just never something in your awareness. And so when something happens that's new and different than you've never experienced before, if we don't pay attention to that, it's like how are we going to attract that again?
Right. So what I
And
always
make
tell
it from a familiar friend instead of just a passing,
Right. Well, and the reason that something would be a familiar friend versus a passing thing is based in your energy. So let's say for instance, like, you wanted to pull certain money in. If you've spent the last couple weeks getting in the vibration, so let's take your house, for example, however much you're going to make. If you spend your time now getting in the vibration of already having that, it starts to become your new normal, even before it arrives. Right. And so when people are manifesting money, you want to get in the vibration, you want to get into the energy of already having that amount so that when it gets here, it's totally normal. And that's
and
something
it's a match.
Yeah, that's something I taught in I did a business class, High Watt Business School, and I did a whole module on that. And I taught people, and I even did this process before I taught it, where I was like, okay, this many people are doing this course. I believe it was oh gosh, I can't remember. I think it was like a $5,000, $6,000 course. And I was like,
Uh,
okay, this many people are doing it. And this is how much money is going to come in. So I just got in that amount, and I got in the vibration of serving that many people. I did that for about a month. And so when the sales actually came in, it didn't feel weird. I mean, the excitement was mild. It just felt normal. It's like, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like it already happened a month ago, right? So that's the difference between that energy where it feels like an old friend. It can only feel like an old friend if you've been in the vibration of it for a while. If you haven't been in the vibration of it for a while and you just
yeah.
have some sort of random windfall, that's when you blow it. Unless you just really start to integrate it after you've done the manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I think probably now my energy's in the type of place, like I said, with the live events, it would just be so much money that part of it was me getting in the vibration of pulling that in. And then the other part was like, okay, I kind of don't feel like this is my new reality. So I'm going to sit with it a little while. So, you kind of just, whatever I need to do to make this feel normal, I do. Usually I will have already done the work before, cleared all the blocks, held the new vibration, so that when something happens, it's not all that surprising. And it's just like, all right, cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Preparing for what you want.
Yep. Gotta have your energy.
Preparing, it's interesting because we prepare for the day, we brush our teeth, comb our hair, do all these things. And we've never been taught how to prepare energetically to attract what we want.
Right. And growing up as an athlete, you learn that, right? As an athlete, as a kid, I always was able to, I pitched in softball, fast pitch, and I was like, I know where that ball's going before I even wind up, right? So I would get in the energy of a strike before I would even move my body. And then, with championships, it's like we were winning this game. So I would be in the vibration of us winning, or I would be in the vibration of a certain award. I unconsciously knew how to do this. And I had parents who kind of taught me these things when I was young. But like as an athlete,
nice.
Those energies. And so for me, it was like, I really kind of had never applied them to actual life until I started doing energy work. And so that's, it grabbed on easily for me because I'd always done it as a kid.
So can you talk a little bit about, I know there's a number of people that are going to show up to listen that maybe feel like they've been either out of a career for a while and they're really wanting to make a difference. They're feeling a calling. They feel like it's their time to express something. They may not even know what it is or how to tap into that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
So it's funny because at High Watt Live, which is my live event, which is now an audio program because of COVID, but the first module, before we get into any other blocks, the first block we address is always like, sometimes you don't have what you want yet because you don't actually know what you want. And what I find is working with a lot of people, sometimes there's energy present that will keep you in a reality where you never seem to know what you want, whether it's, through the parenting methods or through what you want never being achieved anyways. There's various reasons why someone wouldn't be clear on what they wanted. And so to kind of get clear on what they want to do, when someone comes in, they say, I just want to make an impact. I don't know what it is yet. What we'll start to do is we'll just start to dive into the energy of, okay, what is in the way of me knowing what I want to do? What is in the way of me getting guided to, to what I want to do? What is in the way of me following the guidance to what I kind of think I know I want to do, but I'm not letting myself really know it, right? Because I find that a lot of people kind of have an idea, but they just don't think it's possible. So what are the blocks in the way of believing something's possible? All of those are energies that we hit in my High Watt Live. It's like, you don't know what you actually want. You don't know your value. You're not standing in your power. You're not following your guidance. You're not taking bold action, and you don't know what's possible. Those are the 6 blocks we clear in that. And it truly is every single time, as a live event or as now the audio program, it truly covers the biggest blocks to just starting. It covers the biggest blocks to getting momentum once you have started, and it clears the blocks even when you're in advanced stages of doing what you want to be doing. So yeah, those are kind of the places.
I'm seeing a high school counselor.
Flashing, your blocks are flashing.
I was just thinking how wonderful it would be for our high school students to have access to this kind of work to discover what it is, and get oriented to a place that's going to serve them
Yep.
right off the bat.
Yeah, totally. I know. I think about that all the time. A lot of times energetically, I know for me in high school, I had all answers. So I would never have looked for work like this. I thought I knew everything and I thought I had it all figured out. So I wouldn't have listened. But I think, I think about that all the time where, if we teach people how to process what's not them and, clear all these blocks, you can get an earlier start. But it comes back to that lesson thing where it's just like, you know what, maybe we need to go a little farther down the road so that I'll be willing to face all this, at some point, or learning. Like what I always say is like, I went down this path as an attorney, but I learned so much about business. I learned so much about the law. I learned so much about so many things down that road. So I was always supposed to go down that road to get here because when I'm working with high performing clients, I can help them. They have big legal issues. They have huge business decisions to make. And I can also really work well with them because of my legal background. So, whatever your soul is supposed to go through to get you to where you're going next, that's always on purpose, I think.
Well, I have to agree with you there because it's like nothing is wasted, right?
Yeah,
I mean, unless you
absolutely.
absolutely refuse to learn from it.
Totally. Then karmic, then you get to keep learning it over and over and seeing this, you get to keep saying the same guy over and over again. You get to keep coming up with the same clients with the same objections over and over again. You get the same patterns. That's,
Yep.
yep.
I have a friend who does. She's an entrepreneur and she helps people with their funnels and their messaging, and she has a degree in ecology. And we talked about that once because we're both real earth people. And so we were talking about that. And she said, "Oh, my dad was so upset with me because he thinks that I wasted all that time and energy and money on this degree." And she said, "I use it all the time in my work
Yeah.
now." She
Oh
said,
yeah,
it's just not in the traditional way of looking at things, but I use it all the
absolutely.
time.
I know it was, imagine how it felt for me to tell my mom who had paid for my entire law school and college education for me to turn up and say, I'm done with this. I'm going to go be an energy healer. She's like, what's that? But, um, but yeah,
Oh,
I also agree. Nothing is wasted. I mean, I even spent a year between college and law school. I spent a year just doing QuickBooks for a law firm, just doing some accounting. And I mean, that learning those things are applicable to running my business today. I spent a couple years assisting with a family business. I graduated law school during the recession, 2008, 2009. And so there were just no legal jobs for a while. So I just worked for a family member and I learned a lot more in that job than I did in any other setting about legal stuff, because you work for someone running their business, you learn a lot about business. And it was,
yeah.
so nothing has been wasted. So that's why I always tell people though, you'll know when enough is enough. You'll when you get to the point where you're like, okay, done learning the lessons, now I got to go where I'm going. Like you can tell when you're burning it out and learning. You can tell when you're learning something versus when you're just stuck in a pattern and it's time to move on.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jackie, let's have you share something about the free gift that you're giving so people know how to get in touch with you and learn more a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
Yeah. So what I decided to give as a free gift. So right now my live webinar series is called Possibility Squad. And a few months ago in Possibility Squad, I did a group energy clearing on money shame, where because shame is the lowest vibration on the scale of vibrations. So if you're holding shame, you're definitely blocking some stuff out. And I always call shame the lowest hanging fruit because when you pick out shame and you clear shame, you get the biggest, quickest upgrade because it's the lowest vibration in your body or in around you. So when you clear shame, your money energy goes way up a lot faster, kind of the most bang for your clearing buck, I always say. So I'm gifting anyone watching with the money shame clearing, which helps you find some old stories where you either learned to feel shame about money or emotional incidents where you were made to feel shame or held embarrassment or anything like that. And this is the only clearing I've ever done that I personally like went back to over and over and over again to clear myself with, because the upgrade you feel when it's done is so good. And there's shame has a lot of different angles, just as all energies have a lot of angles. And so I was able to pinpoint a lot of places where I felt money shame that I didn't even know. I mean, and this is just a couple months ago I did this. So digging out some really big stuff around shame. So that's a video clearing that I'm offering. And I don't remember the website I put that on. We can post that for people.
That's
It's
okay. It's going to be in the notes. It's going to be in the emails
cool.
that they get. So they don't have to worry about that right now. So
Okay.
just so
Yeah.
that they know it's there. And the person you're going to want to look for when you're looking for that gift is Jacki Beem, Beem, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so Jacki, this has been amazing.
Yes. Thank
I
you
always
so
love
much
to
for
talk
having
about
me.
energy and pick somebody else's brain about the way they look at it and the way they work with it. So it's been a lot of fun. Can you share a couple things that people can just like nab onto and run with today?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just get started on clearing your energy now, just start taking notice when emotions come up, when something's triggering you from the outside, start taking notice of emotions that come up. Let yourself feel them fully, and that helps to get all that energy out. And also just start paying attention to the beliefs that come up when something starts to happen. Allow yourself to say, okay, what do I think is true right now, or what feels true in this moment. Start taking notice of the beliefs that are, and those beliefs are actually creating why that showed up. And you can just get started on rewiring those.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, and there's
So
tons and tons of, tons and tons of healers in the world, and there's tons of programs
yeah,
in the world that'll help you be assisted with that. So, but if you just want to start today, just really become conscious of what's unconscious.
that seems to be the first step with everything is pay attention,
Yep.
up your noticing,
Yep.
get really aware, right? So thank you so much. It's been a
Yes.
delight having you here. And again, all you listeners, thanks for showing up. And let Jacki know you appreciate her gift. Go pick it up. That connection of offering and receiving is a big thing. And so enjoy, and we'll see you on the next one.